Every time a major policy is debated, politicians repeat the exact same analogy. The government must tighten its belt and live within its means, exactly like a family balancing its budget around the kitchen table. This comparison suggests the nation is constantly on the verge of running out of money, or that the country has somehow maxed out its credit card. Within this framework, essential public projects are treated as unaffordable burdens. Public housing is delayed, regional rail networks are scrapped, and hospital upgrades are shelved because leaders claim the funding simply isn't there. Yet while we are told the dollars are scarce, the physical reality is different. The nation still possesses the idle labor, the raw materials, and the engineering knowledge required to actually build these projects. By prioritizing numbers on a spreadsheet over the physical condition of the nation, the political system reduces human need to a line item in a fictional budget. Before any serious discussion about the economy can begin, we have to ask one mechanical question. Is the entity spending the money a currency user or a currency issuer? A household is a currency user. A business is a currency user. A state government or a local council is a currency user. They must first earn or borrow the currency before they can spend it. They face strict financing constraints and very real risks of insolvency. But the Australian federal government is different. It does not need to get money from taxpayers or bond markets before it can spend. It is a currency issuer. In practice, the Commonwealth is the sole creator of the Australian dollar. It marks up bank accounts through the monetary system to settle its own payments. Because it creates the currency it spends, the federal government can always make payments denominated in its own money. It cannot run out of Australian dollars the way a family or a business can. This makes the household analogy backward. A family budget operates strictly within the rules of the financial system, but a national currency issuer creates and sustains the system itself. The immediate question is, if the government creates its own money, why does it collect taxes? The reality is, the federal government spends Australian dollars into existence first, before it ever taxes them back. Taxes do not fund the government. Instead, taxation acts as a release valve. It drains purchasing power out of the economy to keep inflation stable, and it shapes behavior by making harmful activities more expensive. The same logic applies to government bonds. What is commonly called the national debt is better understood as a side account. Issuing bonds is a way to manage interest rates and offer a secure savings instrument. It is not a giant national credit card used to afford basic spending. Taxation and bond issuance are simply structural tools. They are mechanisms for reserve management, interest rate maintenance, and building the economic architecture of the country. When we use household terms like debt crisis or taxpayer-funded to describe these sovereign operations, we obscure how the system actually works, and that misunderstanding blocks effective public policy. None of this means the government can spend without limits. A currency issuer will never bounce a check, but spending badly still causes real damage, a reality monitored closely by central banking institutions. The actual constraints on a national government are not financial. They are physical. The true limits are our real-world productive capacity, the amount of available labor, raw materials, technology, engineering skills, and energy. If a government issues too much currency to buy resources when the supply of those resources is already maxed out, it doesn't create public value. It just drives up prices and intensifies inflation. When a nation has the idle labor, the raw materials, and the technical skills to execute a project, that project is physically doable. And for a government that issues its own currency, if a project is physically doable, it is inherently financially affordable. This capacity allows for the expansion of public housing, the security of energy grids, and the rebuilding of industrial manufacturing. The household budget myth traps us. It forces society to design our entire economy around the preservation of a fiction instead of organizing it around human capability, social resilience, and national need. Providing the essentials of civilized life is not a question of where the money will come from. It is a question of political will. We have to stop asking whether the government can afford to serve the public and start asking whether it is willing to do so.